Welcome to the Gorilla 5 video series. In this lesson, we're going to learn about fringes. What is a fringe? Fringes are percentages or flat fees, usually additional benefits, attached to any detail line item, usually a cast or a crew member. Fringes are defined in your budget and are attached to detail line items. So let's go into the budget module and select a budget. We are now on the top sheet level of the budget. Now you can create fringes on any level of the budget, but they are used in the detail level. So let's go there. I'm going to select a cast account and then go to the detail level of the cast account, principals. The first row shows a principal detail with the rate of $15,000. Let's add a fringe to this detail line item by clicking in the fringe field for that row. When you first enter the fringes screen, you will not see any fringes, so we need to create one. To create a fringe, select the Setup button. This will take you to the Create Fringes screen. Now, before we create a fringe, let me explain the two types of fringes. The fringe benefit by percentage is simply a percentage. You enter that percent and then attach it to the detail line item, and that percent will be multiplied by the sum of that detail line item and then added to the total of the line. A fringe benefit by flat rate by unit is a flat rate that will be added to the subtotal by unit. This is a little more complicated, so we will go over that in detail when we create a fringe by flat rate. Okay, so let's create our first fringe by percentage. Click on the green Add button. Enter a name for the fringe. I'm going to enter SAG, a description if desired, and then the percent. To make it simple for this tutorial, I'm going to enter a straight 10%, although most likely any union fringe will be a different percent. I'm going to leave the cutoff empty for now, and then close this window. Now you can see that the SAG fringe has been created. However, it is still not attached to the detail line item on the budget. In order to attach it, select this checkbox. Notice in the detail level, the amount 1500 populated the fringe field. This amount was calculated as 10% of 15,000, which is the current rate. Now, if you change the rate, say for example to 20,000, the fringe also changes to accommodate the new rate. This column here shows you the percentage in decimal points for the fringes for the line item. Let's add another fringe to this same line item. This time, select the Fringe button on the Budget toolbar. This will automatically take you to the Create Fringes window. Click on the green Add button and create another fringe. Click on the fringe field for the row you want to add the fringe to. Click on the checkbox to add the new fringe. You can attach more than one fringe to a detail line item. I'm going to attach both fringes by selecting both checkboxes. Gorilla can save fringes into groups. Much like globals, you can create a fringe group with a whole bunch of fringes and then save and load that fringe group to be used in any Gorilla budget. To do this, from the Setup menu, select Fringe Management and then Fringe Groups. The fringes that we created in our current budget are not displayed here because we did not attach them to a fringe group. I'm going to load a saved fringe group. Click on the Import button and find the My Fringes folder, which is in your My Budgets folder. Select the sample fringes file and click Open. Select the fringe group to highlight it. In this group, there are 4 fringes. 3 of them are percentages, and 1 of them is a flat rate. To activate one or more of these fringes, select the Activate Fringe button, which looks like a percentage sign. The check mark superimposed on the percentage icon indicates that this fringe is active in the budget. Let's take a look. I'm going to select a row without a fringe. And you can see that the new DGA fringe is available to use. Let's go back to the fringe management screen. I'm going to add a new fringe to this group. By leaving the checkbox selected, this fringe will automatically be activated in our current budget. You can see that by the check mark. Now I'm going to save this entire fringe group. To do this, click on the Save button. By default, fringe groups will be saved in the My Fringes folder in your Saved Budgets folder. You can, of course, change the path to the default Save folder by clicking on the Path button. Let's make sure the fringe group was saved. I'm going to delete this group and then load the saved group. I'm going to click the Load button and then find the just saved fringe group. Here it is, called Sample Fringes. And when I select the fringe group name, notice all the saved fringes appear just as we save them. Now I'm going to explain flat rate per unit fringes. Select the Fringes button on the Budget toolbar. To better explain a flat rate fringe, click on the Info button. A flat rate fringe is added to the subtotal by unit. In other words, flat rate fringes are calculated based on the hourly equivalent of the unit. Select the Flat Rate Fringe tab. I'm going to create a fringe called Actor Bonus. Give it a rate of 100 and enter days for the unit. Now, go back to the detail level, select the fringe field for a detail line item, and select the Actor Bonus fringe. Notice that 0 populated the fringe field. Now, why is that? That's because we did not specify a unit for this row. If you don't specify a unit, the flat rate fringe will not be calculated. So if I enter H here to show hours, notice that the value 8 appears in the fringe fields. Let me explain why 8 is the fringe amount. From the Setup menu, select Units. We defined the Actor Bonus fringe as a per-day fringe. The unit table defines a day as 12 hours. An hour, as you can see, is defined as 1. Therefore, if you divide 100 by 12, the result is 8.3, which rounds to 8. Let's close the Setup Units window. If you change the amount to 2 hours, and you might have to refresh the screen to see the new result by just clicking on the fringe field, notice that the fringe for this row is now 17. Now let's match the units field in the row to the defined units for the Actor Bonus, which is day. I'm going to enter 1 for the amount and then refresh. And as you can see, the fringe amount is now $100 per day. Now that's how fringes by flat rate per unit works. Now I'm going to explain the cutoff. Go back to the Fringes screen by selecting Fringes in the toolbar. In the cutoff column, let's enter 1 for 1 day. Notice here, right next to the cutoff column, the In Hours column displays 12 for 12 hours. Let's go back to the line items. Notice that nothing has changed. That's because my cutoff is 1 day. If you enter 2 in the amount field, notice the $100 fringe does not change. Again, that's because the cutoff is 1 day or 12 hours. You can play around with the amount and units fields on the detail row to see how it affects the flat rate fringe. For example, if I change the amount to 9 and the unit to hours for 9 hours total, notice the fringe amount changes to 75. This is calculated at $100 divided by 12 for a 12-hour day, then multiplied by 9. The cutoff here is still 12 hours, so it still has not been reached. Changing the amount to 13 hours exceeds the 12-hour cutoff, so the fringe will be calculated
at $100 divided by 12 times 12, or simply $100. Just remember that everything is calculated on an hourly equivalent. You can specify this in units. So if you change the day unit equivalent to an 8-hour day, then when you specify fringes using the day unit, everything will be calculated based on that new 8-hour day calculation. Similarly, you can define how many hours should be in a week, again, based in hours. This is also why deleting the hour entry is not recommended.
That wraps up this lesson. Have a great shoot.